Welcome back to Helping Families Go Beyond, the podcast by Beyond the Spectrum. I am your host, Loryn Carpenter, and this is our very special back to school episode as we start to get into the new school year. I can't believe it's already here. Our students are going to be back August 10th, and then our open house is August 7th. And it's crazy how fast summer went by because I've been here at the school all summer and we think we have all of this time to get our classrooms done and we don't. So we are doing our finishing touches and getting classrooms ready. But this episode is actually, I wanted to take a different pace with it today. And what I did, instead of having a guest, because people are still on vacation, people are still enjoying their summer, I wanted to go ahead and just compile a bunch of different advice for back to school from our listeners, from our professionals, our teachers, our admin. And so I'll show you, I actually have like 3 pages worth of advice that was sent back to us from all of our professionals and everybody that I reached out to. So thank you to everyone that came together to help me kind of share this information with our listeners and our families. And so I'm excited to share all of that with you. It's wonderful stuff. And then I'll also tell you a little bit about how we do our back to school routines with Scotty, my brother, who loves school. So he's very excited to be back. And I will tell you all about that. And before we get into it, I just want to share some of our exciting school updates with you. We are getting everything ready somehow. And another fun update for our H.I.V.E. group, our adult program, is that we are going to be introducing a third group of individuals back there. And we are really excited to see what they'll be doing. But so what's going to be happening is our lead teacher over in our Peabody Academy is going to be moving back into our H.I.V.E. program and introducing a vocational independence group that's going to be really working on job skills and independence. And it's going to be a really nice post-secondary offering for some of our high school graduates that have graduated from our Peabody High School. And we're excited to be offering that. And so it's been possible because we have these big modular walls back in our H.I.V.E. And so this summer, we've been able to reconfigure the space and make all of this room for these new adults back there. And so we cannot wait. We are going to be sharing pictures of it on social media, so you won't miss it. But it's going to be really great back there. We're very excited for the H.I.V.E. this year. They're going to be doing lots of fun partnerships with fellow nonprofits in the community. And we are just really going to see some amazing growth back there. And this year, we are also record-breaking our attendance. We're going to be having 98 students on our campus this year. And so I don't know how we're going to fit them, but we will. And we are so excited to have these new families that are joining us. And so if you are listening today, welcome to Beyond the Spectrum. It's going to be an amazing year and just lots of fun stuff happening. And so I also wanted to share a really fun tool and an amazing development for our technology here at this campus. We were very fortunate to receive a grant from the William G. and Marie Selby Foundation for 2 new smart boards and a bunch of new laptops for our teachers and students. And so I'm actually sitting in a beautifully decorated classroom that has a brand new smart board just right beside me. And if I could turn the computer, I would, but I don't want to mess up the connection. But we are very excited. So thank you to the Selby Foundation for your generous grant. We are really looking forward to all of the amazing things that our learners are going to be doing with the smart boards. It's going to be such an interactive tool in all of the classrooms, and it's going to be used so much in our programs. And so we also wanted to share that I am going to be transitioning this year into a fundraising role for Beyond the Spectrum. So along with the podcast, I'm going to be moving more into donor management and retention and event planning. And so there's already a few events that are on the radar for us. So April 12th is going to be our golf fundraiser. So just put that in your calendar now and get your group together now and start practicing your golfing because that is happening and we are super excited. So be on the lookout for some fun fundraising events that are going to be coming up this year. And I think that is about it for our school updates. And so I'm now going to be sharing this incredible wealth of information that was given to me by all of our listeners and our professionals. And so back to school time can be a big transition for a lot of our families, for a lot of our learners. And it can go either way. We have some that really love school, like my brother Scotty. He's waiting at the door right now to get started at school. And then we have some that might resist the change a little bit. They get used to summer vacation. They get used to being at home and kind of doing their own thing. And so moving back into that routine can be difficult. But so I did get some very nice advice from our school psychologist, Dr. Valerie Roth. And she says, I think one of the most important things is to try to start bedtime and morning routines earlier than the day one of school. Try a week or so before school so the child can know what to expect. And so we do see this. We do see this a lot. We have some students, they will get used to being up till 2 a.m. and then they sleep at school for a little bit. And so I just know that that can be a little difficult to transition back into. So getting that started maybe a week or so in advance can be good. And then she also says, if attending a new school, make sure to provide the most up-to-date IEP and medication forms before the start of school. That way, people can start to look them over before day one. If it's a new teacher, try to meet with them beforehand to discuss your child, any goals, interests, or strengths. And so our registrar, Kathleen, will tell you how important paperwork is. And so just having that updated IEP, having everything submitted will help the school year go much more smoothly. And some of the paperwork we are legally required to have for the child to attend. So that is important stuff just to keep in the back of your head as you get ready for school with your learner. This is just some additional advice that we got from our listeners. But so one other piece was help your child identify feelings using visuals, emotion charts, or simple phrases like I'm nervous, I need a break, I'm excited, simple things that they can also say to teachers if they need to self-advocate. But so that's been really helpful for that family. And then expect an adjustment period. So changes in sleep, appetite, emotions, or behavior are common during the first few weeks. And we all see that here at Beyond the Spectrum. You are not alone in that. You're not alone in that. Give routines time to settle before assuming that something isn't working. Transitions can be challenging at first because they involve uncertainty, and the sudden end of a summer break can be triggering for some. And, it's a common thing. It's going to be hard for me getting back up at 6 a.m. So I am right there on that boat. And then this was also from one of our listeners, but separation anxiety. It's okay for you and your child to be emotional in the first few days and weeks of school. Keep goodbyes simple and brief because reassurance can sound like, I'll see you after school, and kept at that. Staying longer and in their sight can actually make the transition a little harder. And I see that in the front office a lot. So we do have learners that it's that first day. And I mean, who does want to leave their parent when they've been, playing Fortnite all summer and eating all their favorite foods, and now they have to sit in a chair? Like, I would be upset too. But definitely some good advice on transitioning back into school. And so this is also some advice from our teachers who had some really great tips to share with our listeners, but this was from one of our educators. Teachers want to know all about your learner before the school year. You can share your child's strengths, motivators, communication styles, sensory preferences, and calming strategies with a one-page all-about-me profile or a short meeting before the school year begins. So don't be afraid to advocate for just a few minutes with the teacher if there's any pertinent information that you want to share with your student. And I know our teachers here, especially at BTS, they would love to hear from you and just any sort of advice or any sort of heads up about anything. Allergies, any type of allergies that we might need to know about, that is huge. Just any kind of brief information that they can get beforehand so that they can make the learning experience as cohesive and fun as possible. They are here for you, and they're excited to learn about your learner and know about your family and help you through the school year. And social stories are like a roadmap for the start of the school year. Letting your child know what to expect during this change can reassure them, and it's a tool that they can refer to whenever needed. Other visuals that can help are calendars, first then boards, and countdown charts. And I actually have a calendar right behind me. And we use calendars like crazy around here. But I also wanted to share really quickly, because this reminded me, the All About Me profile. It reminded me of this really cool offering that we're going to be having sometime this fall, and it's through a partnership with the New York Life Foundation. But so they are a life insurance company, and they have this amazing foundation that creates all sorts of resources for families with autism and unique abilities. But so I actually have it right here. I wanted to show you guys. It's their Child ID program. And so we are actually going to be offering this to our families. And so what we're going to be doing is reaching out, and we're going to be trying to schedule some days to get these made for our learners. But it's completely free. It's through the foundation. And I believe you can sign up and get this done as well. This can happen anywhere. But we actually met with some wonderful representatives from New York Life, Sam and Marty. And we just had the best time getting to show them around our campus and learning about their mission. But so these IDs are going to be really, really useful. And these can be kept in backpacks. These can be brought to school. And it's all of their identifying information just in case something happens, because we know communication can kind of be a barrier for our learners. But it's a really wonderful tool that we're excited to have, and we're excited to partner with them. So just a shout out that this advice made me think of. So we're really looking forward to working with them. Sam and Marty were amazing. I walked them through our very scary campus, and they totally understand. Sam has lots of years as a special education teacher, and so she completely understood. So it was great having them in. But yeah, and so another great piece of advice that we got from one of our teachers is make sure that students can recognize their own things. Knowing their name is awesome, but also knowing their backpack, their lunchbox, and their water bottle is very helpful. It's tricky when teachers don't know what belongs to who, and then the students don't know either. But so, yes, that is very important, because you might get a few extra water bottles in your child's backpack one day. And so we're just going to apologize for that beforehand. Before the school year even begins, we're just going to preface that might happen a few times. But being familiar with your belongings and knowing your backpack and your water bottle, all important stuff. And so that actually kind of segues into some of the OT advice that we got submitted. So one of the good pieces that we got from occupational therapy was try wearing your backpacks, your school clothes, your new shoes, and your lunch boxes before school starts. Practice opening those things. Practice opening your lunchbox and your water bottle, because all of that is important, fine, gross motor, sensory stuff. And so just make sure that that is nice and familiarized before the school year starts. And during the first week, we'll be working on that stuff as well here. So just getting familiar with the sensory feel of school clothes. Maybe the shoes are too tight. And, if they've been barefoot all summer, they've got to go back to wearing socks and shoes. I know some schools might have strict dress codes. I know here it's pretty relaxed. I've got my Crocs on right now. Students, we wear our Crocs like crazy, but just getting familiar with the new feel of shoes or the tag on a shirt, and just, knowing what that feels like before they're in school can make a big difference. And then some other great advice from OT was to pack sensory supports that your child uses successfully if allowed. So that can be anything. That can be headphones, that can be fidgets, Chewy Tools sunglasses. It's funny, we actually have a client that comes in the afternoons, and he comes in, he's got his shades on and his headphones, and he rocks it. He looks awesome. He comes in with a lot of swagger. And so any tools that help your learner succeed in the classroom, we welcome. And it's amazing what's out there now. I actually added my own little fidget to my laptop just now. It's one of those sensory stickers that you rub, and it's just amazing all the stuff you can find that can support sensory needs. So any of that can be welcomed into the classroom as permitted. And so that's been a great tool, especially for our learners. So any sort of sensory supports. And then this is going to be, it's a little randomized because it's more specific advice that was from our parents and caregivers, but it is so appreciated, and it's stuff that I didn't even think of as we start the school year. But so this was the first one, and it's to celebrate small victories, like walking to class independently or making eye contact with a classmate. These are huge successes. So asking a teacher for a break, self-advocating, all such important things for students. And so that was the first piece from a parent. And then again, practice opening lunch containers and food packaging, or try to include as many pre-cut and pre-opened foods in your child's lunch. Practice using water bottles. Yep, because we've we've had that a few times where the student will have a full water bottle and they don't know how to open it. But so we're always happy to help. Always something important and really nice to work on beforehand. But so let's see. Oh, this is a good one. Okay. Take pictures of classroom spaces and significant areas in the school to use for personalized social stories. This will help your child get familiar with a new place. And so we, as much as you can, if you can take pictures of common areas, I'm not sure what the layout of other schools are like, but maybe cafeterias or front offices if they go through that way. And if possible, you can even ask to take pictures of the teacher, of the assistant, of the principal, just key people that your student will be dealing with and seeing on a regular basis. And then that way you can have those at home to reference. And we use that with Scotty too. We use social stories, and just having it there at the home, accessible whenever they want to see it, can be a great reassurance to them. And so that's amazing. And let's see. This parent says, apps like understood.org have made all the difference in preparing. They have lots of articles and resources on unique learning abilities like ADHD, dyslexia, and language disorders. And so this is also good information that you can share with your teachers too, just that they're on the same page about where they need to meet your student at. And so that's all really helpful stuff. And I know I talked about this a little bit earlier, but this is some advice. Some students love school and are ready to be back, and others might resist the change at first. The routine does get easier after it's practiced until your child is comfortable. And so that is very true. That is very true. Students love school. I can tell you Scotty does. Scotty is already ready for school. And so I'll actually tell you a little bit about what helps Scotty out, because he is very routine oriented. And so I think what happens is he creates his own routines over the summer to keep from getting bored and to keep that momentum up. And so it's really what it ends up being is like a transfer of routine. And so we have to kind of transition all of his home things into school things. And so we usually do that by talking more about school. We'll just have conversations about school just so he can hear it. And so, we'll have conversations at the dinner table like, oh yeah, we've got to pick out our outfits for school on Monday, or, oh yeah, we've got to set our alarms so that we can wake up for school. And so just kind of mentioning it and having it in the vibes, like in the house, I think it's a good way to kind of start transitioning into that mindset of being ready for school. I know that's helped him. And then, having conversations. And then something that's actually helped a lot with Scotty too is, having him set out his clothes in his backpack the night before. That helps him get ready for the next morning. And he's even started going so far as putting his backpack and his lunchbox in the car. And so that way he doesn't even have to think about carrying it out the door, which is actually very smart on his part. He's very efficient. So he's got that down. He's got his backpack, got his lunchbox, and writing out schedules has been huge. Scotty is a very play-by-play guy. He likes to have everything written out as much as possible. And so what we'll usually do maybe that first week of school is we'll write out all the steps. So we'll be like, wake up, have breakfast, get dressed, go to school, come home, have dinner, take a bath, go to bed. But so it has to be broken down that much. And then what he does is he carries it around and he crosses everything off. And so sometimes he might try and rush the day a little bit. And so he might be having a bath in the middle of school, and we have to be like, Scotty, let's slow it down a little bit. We're still, it's 10 in the morning, but it's been a great help. It helps him know what to prepare for mentally. And another thing to think about too is the processing time of some of our learners. And so if they're getting inundated with lots of different information, it might take them a little bit. We have several learners. It takes them 7, 8, maybe even 10 seconds to process the first thing that you've said to them. And so if you're saying a lot of things to them all at once, it could overwhelm them. So just something to think about as we're getting ready for the school year. Try not to place too many demands all at once. Just kind of space them out and make sure that they're processing them in their own time. That's helped us a lot with Scotty. And then this is kind of a fun one, but something that's helped Scotty kind of signify a new school year is getting a new pair of shoes. And that has been his thing since, oh my gosh, since he was 13 or 14. But so it's like a mile marker. It's like, okay, I've got my new shoes. I've got my new shoes. The school year can start. And so I'm not sure how that could translate to other families, but if there's something that you can make a tradition that kind of sets a new school year, just as something that can signify this is beginning, this is something to celebrate, this is something to be excited for, you go ahead and do it. If it's something as simple as like maybe their favorite meals and a lunch, or maybe a new plush toy, a new fidget, something like that could be good too. But I just know that a new pair of shoes has been Scotty's thing. He needs, his favorite pair of sandals, but every year. And then once he has the sandals, he is ready to go. And so that is like gold to him. But so, yep, the routines have been great. And then, I'm not sure how, the cafeteria situations are at other schools, but, and the eating situation. But I know here at BTS, our students, especially in our early learning programs, they'll eat in their own classrooms, so they're not overwhelmed. But, when they're, in situations where they're having their lunches packed, or if they need specialized foods, I know something that's helped Scotty with his independence is being able to kind of look at his own groceries at the store and see what he wants to kind of advocate for himself. That's been great. And I can tell you that Instacart has been a really good tool, actually, for getting to see visually the items that are at the store and the prices. That has helped him kind of put together what he wants for lunch. And so he's gotten really into Instacart. He's gotten really into DoorDash, which is an expensive habit. But we're excited for him to be packing his lunch and kind of picking out what he wants. But so I'm not sure if that would help any other families out, but it's good to see what the store has and if it's in stock, how much it costs. And it's been great for kind of that self-advocacy of what they want to eat during the school day. And then just know that, they may not eat like they usually do the first few weeks of school. Maybe they'll make up for it when they get home. Maybe they always do that. But so, most teachers, all of our teachers are so flexible with that. And, maybe they don't want to eat at 11:30. In that case, maybe we can just give them a snack and they can have their lunch at a later time. But so, we try to be really flexible with that. But just know that once they're getting into that new routine and getting adjusted, some things might look different. They may not drink all their juice. They might refuse their food. And that's, that's okay. That's expected. We know that might happen. And so we are prepared for that. And it's, nothing to panic over. It's start of a new school year, all sorts of new mental and behavioral and social demands being placed during the first week. And so we totally understand where that could be overwhelming. This was the final piece of advice that I actually thought was really interesting from a family. Let's see. So it says, we always love doing our back to school haircuts at the start of the year. My advice would be finding an inclusive hairstylist that's comfortable accommodating to your kiddos' needs. Talk about the appointment frequently, and you can even look up sounds of the razors, practice at home with some clippers that are turned off. There are lots of simple tutorials on YouTube to do trims at home of scissors, if that is too much. So I actually really like that because, we don't even think about that. The back to school haircut is such a wonderful thing for so many families. It's such a tradition. But so maybe that can be your back to school tradition, like Scotty's shoes. That could work. But so there's lots of ways to be flexible about that. But so that is pretty much all of the wonderful advice that was submitted from our professionals, from our families. And so I think it's such an amazing testament to how passionate and how dedicated our families and our professionals are. And so our listeners. So I just want to thank everybody that contributed to this because so much of this is so important to our families. And, like Dr. Valerie said, like Dr. Roth said, it's the beginning of the year, there's lots of anxiety around this time. And so we completely understand that. We're here for families. And the administration team is here to advocate too. So, don't be afraid to reach out to your administrators, to registrars, principals, and just make sure that all of that is getting prepared. But yeah, so that is all of the advice that we've put together, and I want to thank all of the professionals and to everybody that contributed to make this episode possible. And so hopefully this will be a valuable resource to all of our families as we get going into the school year. And so once again, I just cannot believe that we're already getting set up for a new school year, but yeah, I am very thankful to everyone that's participated and helped bring this together. And I want to say thank you again to our listeners. Thanks for being a part of this. This is, I want to say, our second or third school year getting started and having this podcast. And so we're just truly appreciative to everyone that's tuned in. And what I also want to start doing too is I would love to hear from you all even more. If there's anything that you want to learn about, if there's any topic, if there's any professional that you want me to find and get in contact with to do an episode and get their insight, I would love to hear from you. And so you can actually do that. You can do that on our Instagram direct messages. You can do that on our Facebook Messenger. We have a section on our website, beyondthespectrum.org/podcast. We have a little suggestion box. If there's anything that you would like to share with us or dive deeper into, I would be happy to. I'd be thrilled to. What I would like to do, we are going to be having the professionals from the New York Life Foundation who is going to be doing that child ID program. They also do lots of financial planning for special needs families. And so they do lots of great advocacy work. And I would love to get their insights. So hopefully Sam and Marty will be joining us for an episode. So I'm excited for that. But that is about it for this very special back to school episode for our families. I want to thank everybody, and I want to wish everyone a good luck, happy school year. It will fly by before you know it. It will probably be winter break before you know it. But, just enjoy it. Take pictures, take first day of school pictures, take videos, enjoy it, celebrate it. It's going to be an exciting year with lots of growth and fun opportunities, especially here at BTS, lots of fun community outings and partnerships happening this year. And so we are really looking forward to having everyone on deck for that. But that is it for today, and thanks for listening. We will see you on the next episode. Thank you so much for joining us here today at Helping Families Go Beyond, the podcast by Beyond the Spectrum. For more resources or information, visit our website at beyondthespectrum.org.